Okay, dear learners, welcome to my channel. Today, I have got one of my fantastic students. I would say he's very hardworking, cordial, loyal, punctual, and very much enthusiastic in learning everything. And if I'm not wrong, he is originally from South Korea.
That's right.
And his name is Kyungsoo Park. Have I pronounced your first name correctly, Kyungsoo?
That's right. You did it pretty good.
Okay, my pleasure. 고마워요.
감사합니다.
So thank you very much in a very polite way in Korean language. So I know a few words. So I try to use, because I used to live in a suburb in Sydney where majority of the people belong to Korea originally. So that's called Kyungsoo in Sydney. Have you heard of Kyungsoo? It starts with P, not the one with K.
Yeah.
You were telling in the
There's
class
another
other day.
Kyungsoo along the highway. Well, I visited Sydney a couple of times. And when I was there, I knew a Korean town called Strathfield.
That would be the second most one, I would say.
Ah.
Number one is Kyungsoo, and I would say Kyungsoo in terms of shopping would be more popular because people know, because you didn't live here. That's why you randomly heard of some suburbs. If I'm not wrong, you are from Perth, right? In Western Australia.
I'm living in Perth at the moment, but I came up from a town called Ballina on the eastern coast. Do you know Ballina?
I heard of it.
It's a bit
country.
Yeah, very rural town. It's about half an hour south of Byron Bay. Everybody knows about Byron Bay.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like,
relatively small town. And I lived there
after Port Macquarie, Coffs Harbour and all these.
Yeah, that's right.
Very near Gold Coast in Queensland.
Yep, it's about 2 hours south of Gold Coast, 2 hours north of Coffs Harbour. It's on the borderline of Queensland and New South Wales. Very small town.
That's why you heard of that Kyungsoo with K.
Yeah,
another big town there, you know, in the North Coast. Yes, that's true. But the one I was referring to is Kyungsoo, which is right in the middle of Sydney. And this is very popular for shopping. And once upon a time, it was very popular for, Korean people, because when I first came to Australia, to Sydney, some people took me to Kyungsoo, and then I was thinking, where the hell I am? Am I in Australia or in China or Korea or Japan? Because I was looking, because I was under the impression that I would be seeing a lot of white people because I was new to the country. But they showed me within a day or the same day, I'm trying to remember, it's many years ago, it's all Asian people, East Asian. Then I learned, and trust me, I fell in love with that suburb, and I lived there 7 months. And then I moved out, lived in the city and some other places. Then finally, I made my home also in Kyungsoo by buying my property, and stayed there for another, 8-9 years. Then again moved out, but still we go there to do a lot of shopping because it's very popular. 1 kilometer or more on two sides of the road, there are shops, all types of shops you get, and it's fantastic. And that's how I learned few words. Like I always see people on the road say, "Yoboseo" on the phone.
Yeah, that's right.
And learned it, that, hello and all these things. By the way, so currently you are in Perth.
That's right.
So may I ask why you decided to live in Perth rather than two busy and popular cities like Sydney or Melbourne?
That's sort of a long story.
Yeah, you can make it short to share with us.
As you already know, I am from South Korea. I am born in South Korea. But I moved out of South Korea around the age of 14, 13. So I'm 25 now. So about
11 years ago.
Yeah, about 11 years ago. I was only a primary school student. I don't know much, but my parents have very unique perspective about education, and they didn't like the education system of South Korea. They much preferred the, obviously, look at me now, Western style.
Western style.
Yeah. So they decided to move the whole family to Australia.
Oh.
And at that time, very interesting that you mentioned the town of Kyungsoo and this Korean town, Arif. Very interesting. You mentioned that because my own parents were kind of against that.
Okay. They didn't like to be that community type of thing.
Their opinion was, we just came from South Korea.
So we don't need to go back to Korea again.
Yeah. For a reason. Sense. Yeah, we're going to go to an Australian town.
So that's why you decided to stay. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's why I was going to ask that question, that being a Korean, how come your English is so good? Because you know that in my class, I have students from maybe, in your class, I have students from maybe about 30 different countries, right? You agree?
Yeah.
So many different countries like Colombia, Brazil, UK, Canada, Indonesia, so many different countries, Chile, the Matthias from Chile. So many different countries, now and Japan as well, the Japanese girl, you remember? So many different students, coming from different countries. And I have met a lot of great students from Korea, so they were good. But in terms of English language, probably, I don't mind telling the truth, you are the first so far that I have met from Korea who speaks such a good English. And that's why I thought, I should invite you to my channel, one of my channels, obviously, of the three. So this is also one of the reasons that you did tell me in one of the classes that you have been in this country for many years. That's good. But still, I have seen that many people being in Australia for a long time, they struggle to speak in English. Now, I just want to ask that, is it because you have lived here for that long, which made you either perfect or close to perfection in English language, or there are some other reasons that helped you improve? Because as I said, that I have met people living in this country for 30 years as well, but their English is disaster. Disaster in a way that they cannot speak or write a single sentence correctly. So what is the hidden thing, behind your success?
Well, I don't think I'm a language genius, so I don't think it has anything to do with intelligence. I think the main thing is, as you said, I lived here for almost 10 years. To become good at your second or third language is not going to happen in a couple of years. You need a long time. But I think the most important thing was that, as I told you, I didn't live in Koreatown. I didn't speak Korean to anyone other than my own family. The moment I step out of my own home and go to school or whatever, I have to English. I have to speak English by force. So first time when I was 13 or 14, I spoke terrible English. I go to school and then all the, Australian school children, used to, laugh at me like, oh, he can't speak English. And then, but it doesn't matter.
Kind of mild discrimination.
Yeah. It's just little children, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You slowly learn and then you get educated in English language. And over time, you pick up things that you don't learn through a book. You can learn a language to a certain extent through, reading books, doing exams, watching movie or whatever. Yes, of course, but I think the most important thing to become proficient and fluent in a language is to talk to real people on the street, talk, figure of speech or slang or, just the way people speak. And you got to be fully immersed in it and mingle with them and then, play with them. instead of, just studying off books, I think.
Yeah, like you just avoided, you didn't depend on bookish language. That's what you're trying to say. So you tend to be a little bit more practical,
Yes,
based on
more
the real life situation. So that's good, I think, because there is no harm in practicing that way, that your parents left the country. Obviously, everyone is different. Some people like certain cultures and all these things. But where are your parents now? Because obviously, are you by yourself in Perth?
At the moment, I am.
Where are your parents at the moment?
Well, my mother is still living in Ballina,
Okay.
as she was, and my younger sister is currently studying at University of New South Wales.
So she's in Sydney?
Yep, she's in Sydney. But my father is actually in Malaysia.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
So
Okay.
he wanted to come into Australia, but as you know, the COVID happened, the border
Yeah.
closures. Yeah, sure. So he didn't want to stay in South Korea, and then he got permanent residency in Malaysia. So he's
Interesting.
over there now.
Have you been to Malaysia at all?
Yes, a couple of times.
You have been there. So in Kuala Lumpur?
Yes.
And which part of South Korea are you from originally? Like from Seoul or Busan?
Yes. Our family, well, my mother's side family is all from Seoul, and my father's side is a little bit south of Seoul, but mainly Seoul area.
I just want to tell, because the people who will be watching this video, they are mainly Bengali speakers, where I'll be publishing this video. So just want to let you know that you are used to hearing Seoul, which is not correct actually. The pronunciation, you must have heard from Kyungsoo already, that it's actually Seoul. It's like your soul, inside your
Yes.
like heart. So it's similar to that. Even though in Bengali or in Hindi, Urdu, you say Seoul type of thing, which is wrong. So you need to correct that pronunciation. Okay, so I was just telling my viewers, so they know, because they are very interested in those countries and all these things. But I must admit that regardless of whatever it is or how many people think, that Korea has done very well in technology. I'm sure you are proud of all these things like Samsung, LG, Hyundai and all these, like car industries. I can see that they're dominating in Australia. I'm sure you love to see, on the roads, like a lot of Korean cars. If you go to different shops, you see a lot of Korean electronics. How do you feel? How do you find them?
Well, I must say, I don't want to be snobby about it, but I'm secretly, happy about it. I'm proud.
That's good. You feel proud to see that. That's good. By the way, as you are away from family members, do you have friends in Perth at all? Like, have you made some good friends there?
Well, I only moved to Perth about 2 months ago.
Mm.
So I met, lots of different people, lots of random people, but to be called a friend, I think I made one or two. Not a lot.
What is the main reason behind moving to Perth? Like, rather than like you could have been with your sister in Sydney maybe, or with your mom is still in that area. So is there any specific reason that you decided to go there?
After I graduated Ballina High School, I went to university. At first, I did computer engineering. I like electronics. I like computers, but back then I didn't have any idea. I just thought, wow, computer, cool, I didn't know much. And after actually going to university, I found out that maybe it wasn't the thing I wanted. Maybe engineering wasn't my thing either. Not just computers, engineering in general. So I figured, I still like the idea of engineering. I still want to, do something to do with technology. I always loved technology, but the academic side of engineering was very alien to me. So, what's the opposite? Practical side, isn't it? Practical side of engineering. So I'm coming to Perth to study vehicle mechanic, automotive mechanic. You know how Western Australia got lots of mines?
Yeah, mining is number one in Australia.
Yeah, lots of
mining industry is number one.
And lots of heavy machinery, lots of diesel machinery. And if I want to work there, the first step is to learn mechanics. So that's why I'm here.
So basically, that's what your, like main aim. Okay, that's good. When you say Bellina, the Belna or Bellina is Belina, right?
Ballina, Ballina.
Like that, Bellina. Okay, yeah. I know it's very, very near Queensland border. Right. Yeah, no, I know. So because, I went there once by bus, I think, and that's when I saw that thing. Yeah. So you are planning to settle down in Perth, or you have some other plan in future?
I'll graduate. I'll hopefully get a job at one of the mining site or job site outside of the city, and I'll stay there as long as I need to and earn good money. And after that, if I have good money and making a good living, maybe I'll go back to university and study more. But I'll think about that later.
No, it's good actually. It's a very good city actually. If you can tolerate the weather, the heat that that is very hot, because when I was there, I was playing a lot of cricket actually, and in the extreme hot, like one day I was going to play, it was 48 degrees and I was bedding at midday at 12 o'clock. Can you believe it? It was not that long ago. And crazy, I'm still thinking how I did that. So the time gives you the experience to do things, but I did that. I played a lot of sports there, football, badminton and all those things. So that's good. That's good. Okay. And what's your hobby? Like, what do you like in life? Like during your leisure time to do? How do you use your time generally?
Well, Perth is a beautiful city, so I like to tour around, go for a walk. In Perth, about 20 minutes to where I live, there's Kings Park. It's a public
beautiful of the city. Yes, you can see everything.
Yes. There's very few skyscrapers, and when you actually look up, you can look at the beautiful sky. And I like that. So things like that, just to.
It was my favorite. It was my favorite as well. It's quite a few 100 acres of land that park is situated. It's quite a few hundred. I can't remember. It's a very big park. Like King, it's like King.
Very, very, very vast.
Yeah, you need a day to walk around whole day. You can finish. No, it's fantastic. I love that park. I spend a lot of time. I have a lot of memory there. It's a beautiful park. And you can see the city view and everything. That's fantastic if you go in a sunny day. Yeah. Any other plan to tour the world? Like, have you been to many countries, or you're planning to go?
Well, I've been to South Korea, Malaysia, and Australia. So only 3. But I would love to visit America.
Yep.
I would love to visit Mexico. And then I would love to visit Southeast Asia.
Southeast Asia, like Indonesia and all those countries, I think. So Malaysia,
Singapore, Philippines,
and all this. Yeah, Maldives is beautiful, definitely. Yep, that's good. Yeah. Yeah, there are a lot of countries. Even India is not bad. If you think about seeing a lot of sites, definitely India is as well, because if you know the areas to go, it's fantastic.
I was say India as well. I know there's lots of heritage sites.
Yes. You can see a lot of things. Taj Mahal, one of the wonders. You heard of that? Yeah, that's beautiful. Kashmir is beautiful when it's safe. New Delhi is very much historical, definitely. South India, a lot of different, eastern part of that as well, close to Nepal. Nepal could be another country you can think about. I would say also New Zealand. It's one of the most beautiful countries. If you love to travel, you should go at least South Island. South, because there are two islands, North and South.
Yeah.
And South Island is heaven. It's beautiful if you can travel all part, like from Christchurch through to Queenstown. It's fantastic. You'd love it. It's just beautiful. That's what I can tell. Yeah. So I hope you make some good friends in Perth, because it's a bit quiet city, but it's very much Australian. It's not that multicultural compared to Sydney and Melbourne, but you will meet a lot of people from Africa, Indonesia, I think Afghanistan, and obviously Australian, and Aboriginal people also.
Also, yes.
You see a lot of Aboriginal. How do you find them? What's your experience about Aboriginals there?
Well, Aboriginal in Perth, they're all right. Some of them are loud. Some of them sit on the street and have their own little family gathering and party. But, they're having a good time, and then I don't mind them.
To be honest, my experience with Aboriginals in Perth was fantastic, because I found them very gentle, polite, and well behaved. So I heard negative things, but personally, I experienced very positively. Even though in Sydney, we don't see a lot of Aboriginals. I'm sure viewers, you understand who the Aboriginals are we are referring to here. So they are even though we say Aboriginals, but they are the real originals. They are the original people, who came to this country according to some research and, philosophers and all this, like scientists and, people like them, they discovered that they had arrived in this land in Australia 60 or 65,000 years ago. 60 or 65,000 years ago. And originally, probably they were from Indian subcontinent as well. So when we sit for citizenship test, we need to study those things. And this is where I learned. You learned that? You remember?
Yeah.
You did that? Yes. So that information is there. I remember from many years ago. Okay, so that's good. Good to hear. So your experience is good. So in terms of eating food and everything, are you happy with what you get there?
Well, I'm just living alone at the moment, so I need to do my own more cooking and eat more healthy. But yeah, I'm doing good.
You don't share with anyone, like any individual from any country, no? Or you just get your own accommodation on your own by yourself?
I have a small studio room.
Okay.
One small room, one small kitchen, one small shower. That's it.
All in one. Yeah, studio is good. Very independent thing.
Yes.
By the way, thank you very much, Mr. Park, for your time to share all these, information about your life, good things, bad things, everything, that your future. And one last thing, probably I would say, maybe viewers would be motivated, because I know my learners who follow me, they love me. How do you find me as a teacher in the class?
Well, Mr. Khadem is a brilliant teacher.
Okay.
He's very enthusiastic, and he cares for his students very much.
Thank you very much. Love to hear that. Just one other last thing. Would you mind sharing some tips with my followers or the viewers about English language? Is there anything from your experience that you want to share that can help them improve their communication skills? What do you think?
Well, I already mentioned it to you that I personally, I didn't heavily rely on studying the language by books.
Yep.
I think hearing the language and speaking the language with another English speaker is one of the most effective way of getting better at speaking English.
Definitely. So that means they need to practically use them. Yes. Even when I publish my books and all these things, they're very practical. They are not like bookish type of information. So as they don't have any partners to practice, like those who follow me, because they live in the subcontinent, in India, Bangladesh, some in Nepal, you know, in some other neighboring countries. So I make them feel that this book is your partner. So you speak to them, because as you saw that I showed sometimes as an example that common, closed, and WH questions in practice, my book is always right here. So this book is all about making questions and answering. So when you don't have a partner, you just talk to this book. And those who live in, you know, different countries, obviously they have that experience. So that's how it is. So definitely there is no alternative but to speak up. And if you get people to listen to, and you can also listen to yourself. So that's why I said that you record what you speak. You can read from anything, from my book, from other books, from newspapers, and listen to. So that way you can improve your listening skills as well. When it comes to my book, it tells, you know, like different questions, and you get the opportunity to answer those questions. So you are talking to someone as you don't have any partner, or you can make a buddy who you can also utilize these resources to work on as well. By the way, thank you very much for your valuable time, because I know you have attended my long day lecture today since morning. And after that, it's my pleasure to have you, you know, online for another good amount of time to discuss this. So by the way, thank you very much. And I'm sure that this information will motivate many learners and also encourage them to continue with their journey in the right way, right track. Thank you very much once again, Kyungsoo Park.
Thank you, Arif. It was a pleasure.
Have a great day.